doing? You're an adult. Ugh. Am I though? Yes. Like, do I have to be?
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ashani Dante, and this is But Are You Happy? A Mamma Mia podcast for anyone whose form of therapy sometimes looks like scrolling memes and sending it to your friends at 2 a.m. You know who you are.
And I'm Dr. Anastasia Hronis, clinical psychologist. And now look, if you've tuned into this episode, you might be feeling like your life isn't where you thought it would be at this point in time.
Okay, so I want to start with this idea about adulthood having to look a certain way, right? We think that it's supposed to be this neat, linear path, a bit like how we went to school. You know, we went to kindergarten, year 1, year 2. There was certainty of what the next step was all the way up to year 12. But it doesn't feel like adulthood is like that.
Agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like adulthood was like that. I wish there was like the roadmap that felt as clear as schooling did.
Yeah.
But I'm yet to find it. I mean, we certainly can have these preconceived notions or expectations as to the trajectory that we think we should follow in life, whether that's something that we create for ourselves, whether it's something society tells us we should follow, etc. But as you say, the reality is that that path is not always linear, and often actually from an adult developmental perspective, we actually find people can move in more cyclical kind of patterns. You know, if we think about people adjusting to different life stages, so perhaps, you know, the period in life where if people have children, adapting to having kids, but then adapting to kind of the empty nest phase and sort of having to find solitude and identity in those spaces. I think for me, when I think about adulting and milestones, they feel very intertwined with identity and how identity is formed and changes throughout our life.
So something I feel like we don't talk about enough is the quiet grief that can come when life doesn't look the way that you thought it would be by now. And I think, you know, so often we give attention to those big moments, like, you know, whether you just got married or you got divorced or, you know, but yeah, we don't give attention to those like quiet moments.
The micro grief, because it's not always just a moment attached to a single event, right? It's often this kind of culmination over time of things that just sort of didn't go the way we expected, and there's no one defining moment. It's just eventually we get to a point in our life where we go, oh, this isn't how I thought it would be, or this isn't where I planned to be at this point in time. And it's that kind of reflection piece that brings on that grief. And I think it's hard for people because it's not something that's as easy to talk about. You know, no one's rocking up at your door with lasagnas when you kind of realize that life was just not quite how you imagined it, in the same way that they do if you lose a loved one. Yeah. So without those big defining moments, it can be hard for us to express that micro grief and have other people connect and provide the comfort perhaps that we're looking for in those moments.
Yeah, that's so true, because it's kind of like you're stuck with that and you don't have that external support to lift you up. Yeah.
And sometimes I think the loss that people are grieving may not, for that person, feel, how do I put it, like significant enough compared to big losses that other people go through.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe we kind of are quick to sort of say to people, well, be grateful for what you do have, or look on the bright side and find the silver lining.
Yes.
And not kind of wanting to lean into the quieter sadness that can come with not sort of reaching some of those milestones we might have hoped for.
Who offers the best advice in your family? Is it you? Play the Medibank Family Roast to find out. A card game designed to get families connecting and talking. Because when the bonds of family are stronger, Australia is stronger. So get around the dinner table. A tasty conversation is about to be served. Search Medibank Family Roast. Live better with Medibank. So it's a really interesting one too, because it gets me thinking about our sense of self and like what actually happens to our sense of self when our peers are at different stages of life to us. You know, some are parenting, some are single, some are traveling, you know, it is so different.
Yeah, this is where comparison can really...
Thief of joy.
The thief of joy, absolutely. It can really get us undone because, you know, comparison in these scenarios, you know, we're comparing something on the one hand, that's very, I almost want to say like superficial, like it's just a milestone we kind of tick off on the outside, but everyone has lived different lives with different trajectories to get to whatever point they're at in that time in their life. And so to kind of compare if you've bought a house or not, or if you've got married or not, or had kids or not, or whatever the comparison is, feels like it just doesn't do justice to the lives that have come before getting to those milestones in life. And so if we compare ourselves to others, we really don't do ourselves, the justice and service that we deserve to give ourselves.
Yeah. So for anyone who's come away from doom scrolling on social media, or they've come away from a social gathering feeling like they're behind, what would you want to tell them right now?
Oh, a few things. First of all, when we think about this idea of behind, really reflect for yourself, am I behind my timeline, or do I feel like I'm behind other people's timelines? Because there's a really big difference. One is about comparing ourselves to others and their timelines, but the other is about feeling like we're not where we want to be in life, and perhaps we haven't achieved what we want to. So depending on what sort of behind feeling you're having, we might deal with them differently. So if you're comparing yourself to others and feeling like you're behind other people's timeline, really reflect on, A, is that a timeline that I even want for myself? And B, is this comparison, is this judgment where I compare myself to other people, is that helpful for me in any way? Is it serving me? Is it helping me achieve the timeline I want? Is it helping me achieve my goals? Is it helping me build my sense of self and identity? Or is it just making me feel bad about myself? So really kind of reflect on whether this comparison is actually helpful for you or not.